I'll start talking. I hit that live button and I can see that the eyeball is up on my computer screen. So as soon as some people start logging in, we'll start getting an audience. If you want to log in on your devices, go ahead. And then that'll start pulling some numbers. Yeah, there's about a 19-second delay sometimes. It's anywhere between 9 and as much as 19 seconds, depending on what's happening on the internet land.
Yeah, pop that.
That's why it's good to turn your volume down, because we get this really weird bounce between what you're seeing on your screen and what's actually happening. So there's just a lag time. And I leave that overlay up because we've had some people that had a hard time finding the show once we went live. So it's kind of hard to miss that big Porchcast Pottstown logo, right? Down. Yeah, turn your volume down all the way.
There you go.
And so that's what's going on. People who want to watch the show, we're live on Matt Green and Glocker Real Estate. We're also live on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Porchcast Pottstown. I find that it is much easier platform to search for the past episodes on YouTube.
Okay.
The Facebook, they're there in the videos, but it's not ranged very well. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to get to the videos section of the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I tell people who want to watch past episodes to go over to the YouTube channel and watch them there, because they're all set up. You can search right through them.
And they're like right in order.
Yeah.
How often do you do this?
We're live on Thursdays at 6:00
every week.
Yeah. Now we take breaks.
Okay.
And our breaks typically cover time periods when we're on vacation or doing other things. They don't necessarily run like a television season or anything.
Gotcha.
It just has to do with when Amy and I feel like it.
I mean, that's the best part of it, right?
I think we're calling this something like the 3rd or 4th season.
Okay.
But again, it's just based on breaks. We were off quite a bit this past summer because Amy and I both had a bunch of different vacations and things to do. We started the show during the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders.
Oh, nice.
So we had a lot more time.
I was going to say you weren't taking any vacations at all.
No. And we were also doing the show like every day for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. When we first started, we were doing it every day. And then as things started to quote unquote go back to normal, we narrowed it down. We were doing twice a week. And then we decided to land on once a week on Thursdays, because typically we do the news and announcements and the updates and things. And we try to give people an idea of what they can do going into the weekend. Yeah. So Thursday became the show. So that's the long answer to your question. We do have some people that are tuning in. I can see people are watching. I just want to remind everybody that we're live at Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities with Anissa Jones and Patricia Shepard. We're going to be talking about the community meals program. We're going to be talking about some of the unintended consequences of our charity here in the borough of Pottstown, some of the solutions that we're working to come up with some of these challenges. And there's some questions that we got from the audience prior to the show. We're going to get into some of that. That's going to cover some of the other areas in which Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities works. So I want to remind people that this is a live show and audience participation is key. Even if you're shy, you can just say hello. If you are want deeper engagement, you can ask questions or make a comment about something that you're seeing on the show. The more comments and questions we get, the better the show is, the more you will learn, and the more Facebook will show the episode to people in the community. So the chat box is starting to light up. Thomas Shepard is saying hello. That name sounds familiar. So Thomas, as you're watching the show, you probably want to hit that heart button for your lovely wife. I'm making assumptions. But that person that's important to you that shares your last name. So I'm going to start putting the names up. The first person we're going to put up is Anissa Jones. So if you want to go ahead and start introducing yourself, Anissa.
Yeah. So my name is Anissa Jones. I have been at the cluster. This is my 4th year here. Prior to working here, came and started as a volunteer in 2016. I started as the pantry tech, then became the pantry admin / the volunteer coordinator. And right now my position is the community engagement specialist. I also still take care of our volunteer coordination. And it just allows me to be out in the community and seeing how we can best serve the community and how they can connect with us.
Right. And we're going to get a lot into the work that you guys have done out into the community of late. So in very recent times. Patricia, how about you? Why don't you go next? And then we have a pretty decent amount of watchers, so we'll start chewing into it.
Sure. Hi, my name is Patricia Shepard. I am the Pottstown Cluster's food pantry administrator. I'm here since March. My desire was to help my community. So when this position became available, it was exciting for me to be part of it. My goal here is to help our community the best way we can. And that's pretty much what we do.
Right.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of start at the top and just for full disclosure, Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate is a board member at the Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities. And I also, as most people know, I live in town. I'm from town. Been familiar with the cluster and what their work is in town for over 30 years. And through my participation in the board and then living in the community, I started to notice some things, right? Like there's a couple of issues that have crept up in the community. A lot of them have to deal with trash and litter.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, due to some of the changes that we made with the community meal program,
Mm-hmm.
there was a certain amount of trash and litter that was being generated out of the community meal program that was winding up out on the street.
Yeah.
So that was one challenge,
Right.
right? And then the other challenge is that we recently, as many people know if they follow the local news, we had 2 of the community meal sites that were cited by Pottstown Borough Licensing and Inspection.
Right.
Yes.
So that is dismal. No, listen,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anybody who saw what happened there. Even people who lodged the complaints that led to those citations would probably tell you that issuing those citations to the churches in the manner in which it did was not good. It was not the right way to go. Somebody could have picked up a phone call.
Absolutely.
Or sent an email.
Absolutely.
And we could have addressed it.
Absolutely.
100%.
With a lot less expenditure of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, the lawyers' fees for the borough,
right.
the lawyers' fees for these churches, that's all money that could have been spent
to
help.
Absolutely.
But
100%.
instead we helped a lawyer probably go on vacation.
That hurts even more.
I know. Right? Not that I have anything against lawyers.
No, not at all.
I work with them all the time.
Love lawyers.
But it would have been a better allotment of the community's resources, I think.
I agree.
So one of the things that we immediately did here at the cluster was try to decide how we could take a leadership role in the community so that as these issues creep up, no one is hit with a citation.
Exactly.
Please pick up the phone and call us. We'll help you.
Right.
Because it's an issue for us too.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one wants to see trash on the street.
Right.
No one wants to see people loitering around in their neighborhood causing problems.
Yeah.
No one wants to see that.
Yeah.
And as a organization that participates in the community meal, we want to take a leadership role in trying to solve some of those problems. So there's the setup.
Yeah.
Now, Anissa and Patricia have done a lot of research, collected data over the past, 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks after the citations went out.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working at just getting a handle back on what's going on at each community meal. For a lot of us, the pandemic definitely yielded a little bit more of, I'll say, a runaway with a lot of things. And in that, what we found out was that some of the things that we had required about community meals from the beginning, how strict we were with things, we had let lax because we were just like, let's feed people as much as we can, because
Keep
there's
it
so many more
moving,
that need
right.
it, but as safely as we can.
Right.
So it became a necessity. So as the issues with the pandemic started to dissipate a little bit, we didn't immediately get back a hold on the things that we had going on.
Right.
So what we found was that, yes, how we were helping during the pandemic became a hindrance once the pandemic wasn't an issue anymore.
Right. And that specifically is the carryout meals, right?
Absolutely.
And so the carryout meals were great when we had the social distance. We weren't supposed to be gathering inside.
Exactly.
It was a safe way to get meals out.
Mhm.
Also, putting a bag of a box of meals on a table out in front of the church so people could come up.
Right.
It all made sense to do that during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But now moving forward, not so much.
Not as much.
So why don't you get into the two challenges with the bagged lunches or the bagged meals? So in my mind, go ahead. I don't want to, but in my mind, there's two issues that come out of them.
When you say two, so I think
You might have more.
only two. Only two? Matt, you're being so optimistic here.
I think it's two.
I think
five off the
the
top of my head.
first thing, and I think the thing that concerns us the most, is that people are not getting what they would like to eat.
Okay.
That is the first thing. And for us here at PCRC is the primal thing.
Right.
We want people to get the food they want. We do believe in a choice pantry. We do believe that people should be picking what they eat. So for us, it was very much first, people are just eating whatever they were giving them.
Yeah,
if
it was
to.
pre-packed in the bag,
right.
you're handing it
no-
out.
right.
No variety.
No variety. And
No
there might be
choice.
3 or 4 items in that bag that a
Absolutely.
certain person might not want to eat or can't, or
Absolutely.
for some reason can't eat.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And since we're handing it to them as they go,
Right.
the second part of that is, as you're looking through it, seeing the things you don't want,
You're
You're
discarding
tossing.
what you don't eat.
right. And so it's like, there's no need to bring this into my house and throw it out in my trash. I could drop it here. Now, the problem with that being, there are trash cans everywhere. So we
Right.
could use those.
Right.
But I think since I was little, I've been taught you're not supposed to litter and save the world and save the planet. And there are still people that don't do it.
Right.
So
And some of it
every
might
day.
not always be purposeful too. I mean, there
Absolutely.
is a certain amount of unintentional litter that goes on.
That's true
but
as well.
it's litter nonetheless.
yeah.
And then it winds up on the street around the community meal sites. And
Right.
then the neighbors of the community meal see that in their neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
and are immediately unhappy. And for full disclosure, again, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I live across the street from Emmanuel Lutheran Church.
Mhm.
And occasionally I see trash that I know came from the community meal.
Yeah.
It makes me upset.
Yeah.
And we understand that.
And honestly, for us, I'll be honest, when I think about it dollars wise, it's like we're putting out this money to go,
Yeah.
the money that we're getting to feed people, we're putting out this money to go get these prepackaged singular items.
Right.
Patricia at
Cutlery.
this point is running to Costco, running to Walmart to get these things. And then you're seeing them around Pottstown and it's like, okay, well, I wish you guys would just tell us you don't like those. Like,
Right.
it's one of those things, like
Right.
we could be spending the money on something that you guys really, really want.
Mhm.
And we'd rather do that.
Absolutely. And I think that's why this moving back to the way it used to be is very important, not just for the socializing, because
Right.
that's the big piece, too,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
but to give them what they want.
Mhm.
So at least they can pick and choose. So where we have less waste.
Yeah.
So the dollars can go further.
Right.
I don't
So-
know if everyone is aware of how it used to be.
Right. So
So-
explain that. Break
Yeah,
it down.
So what used to happen with our community meals is there was no takeout.
Mhm.
It was not allowed. You came in, you ate, you could have, as much as you'd like while you were there, but there was no way to take it out. What we also found during the pandemic, unfortunately, is that a lot of people's health deteriorated
Mhm.
for any number of reasons, whether they had COVID and they now have long COVID. People got older. It's been 2 years.
I
They
got
older.
fatter at first because I was just sitting around.
right.
Right.
All of those things.
Yeah.
So what we found when we tried to we first were like, okay, let's go back to just in person. And we realized we can't just make a stark change like that.
Right.
We have to wean people off of the convenience that they're used to,
Right.
and get them back into recognizing the pros of the in-person meals.
Yeah.
I can say I've been going to Christ Episcopal, which is one of the places that was cited, but it's one of our community meals. Their meal is every Monday. Over the past month, they've gone back to in-person.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there every Monday of this month, October. And where we had people fighting it the first week and like, I really need to take it. I really need to go here. You are seeing these people get excited to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing them excited to sit with the people that they haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
since last week.
Right.
There's conversation happening. There's joy happening.
The community piece.
The community piece is the part that it helps people live.
Yeah.
In honesty. The food, yes, sustains them to a degree, but the camaraderie is what people really, really need.
And the community.
Yeah.
And I'm even noticing that in my life, in my professional life, we're starting to get back to more in-person meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get invited to more networking events that in the past. My clients are more desirous of meeting me in person, either in the office or at their home or at their business. So I think not only for the community meal, but for the rest of us, things are starting to get back to
that
normal. Right. The comfortable level.
That comfort level.
And I can say I've seen that even with us, we're in the nonprofit world. So we've had so many Zoom meetings to the point, I'm sure Zoom is just surviving off of us at this point.
Yeah, right.
And I get excited now when people say there's an in-person option
meeting
for me.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I get to get out of the building. I get to get out of the four walls of my office.
Yes.
Like I'm going to the in-person meeting.
Right.
And there's also just something for conversations in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different.
Right.
So I think that for sure is a definite pro. That it took people a little while to remember was a pro.
Yeah.
And
it's also for the families that never experienced it before.
Absolutely. That was where I was going to go next.
This is a change for them, but in a good way.
Yes.
Because now they can get back to that socializing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear. That was a big factor for us when we first started this.
Because no one knew anything. And change is uncomfortable, right?
Very.
Remember all the fear that the pandemic changes brought, right? So now it's a change. We're going back to something that somebody should have been familiar with.
Yeah.
But it's a change nonetheless. So it's hard.
Absolutely. And what we are finding is there are a lot of new people in Pottstown that weren't around when it happened before because
right. So this is all they know.
Yeah. So it's hard for them. It's like, what do you mean there's no takeouts? This is what we've been doing.
Right.
And it's like, actually, this is not what we were doing. We're seeing it in the pantry as well. And even we were discussing with someone earlier today about our holiday program. And we talked about the fact that, we always, cut it off a week before. And we said, actually, we have so many new clients.
Yeah.
They don't remember. They weren't here for last year.
Right.
They don't know that.
Right. So I think you covered what I was thinking about too, was that the two problems that the carry out meals caused was we were now putting trash out onto the street. We were spending resources that could have been used on food for what ultimately became litter.
Yeah.
Right. Or trash. Even if you throw it in the right place.
Right.
It's still we're
throwing out money.
Right. We're throwing out
absolutely.
to-go containers, plastic bags. All of the stuff's made out of plastic.
It's not great for the environment.
It's just,
all of the things.
This is what I'm saying. It's all unintended consequences of our charity.
Absolutely.
So we have to pay attention to that if we want to serve the community better, if we want to be more efficient with our resources, if we want to be good stewards of the land. Because we get one.
we can't replace it. It doesn't regenerate.
No, there's only one.
Yeah.
So I think you hit the nail on the head. And then the other point that I want to get a little bit more into is this idea of community, right? Because people are coming in, they're sitting down, they're talking to other people, other residents, right? Other people that are taking part in the meals. They're interacting with the volunteers, people from the church, you guys from the cluster, and that gives you guys the ability to see what the need actually is
Absolutely.
in the community.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
So get into that, because I know that you two guys did a lot of surveys and a
Mhm.
lot of interviews
Yes.
with these people. So let's talk about what the actual need in the community is, because one of the challenges that I see is people are unaware. They know that there's a hungry problem in Pottstown, or they
Yes.
believe that there's a hungry problem in
Mhm.
Pottstown. They know or believe that there's a homelessness problem in Pottstown.
Mhm.
They don't see that anything is going on with it,
Right.
and they rush in with help.
Mhm.
Good on them. People
Yes.
want to help, and
Absolutely.
that's good. But they start doing things that aren't necessarily the most beneficial.
Absolutely.
So
Agreed.
let's get into that, because I think your research, the research that you guys have done, has uncovered a lot of ways in which we can be more efficient
Mhm.
in our charity to reduce these unintended consequences. So
Absolutely.
I'd really like you to speak on that.
So I think the first thing that most people need to know about Pottstown is that it's not 100% homeless. It's not 90 or 50% homeless. We're dealing with the working poor.
Mhm.
So these meals are not just helping our unhoused.
Right.
A lot of people that we're seeing at these meals are the working
Families.
poor. We've seen a lot of people that come and eat their meal before they go to work.
Yeah, right.
We see a lot of people that come and eat their meal after they come from work.
Mhm.
So that is the first thing for sure, is to understand that Pottstown has been dealt a bad hand,
Mhm.
and that they had some challenges to start with. So we're dealing with people who are not making enough
Right.
to meet ends.
Right.
And that is the first thing. Everybody here is not poor. Everybody is not wanting a job. Everyone's not on some kind of public assistance because they won't work.
Right.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
And I think too, one of the things that you guys have uncovered, along with some of the work that Deacon Dennis has done
Yeah.
in his research and interviews, is that the actual numbers of what we consider truly homeless people are relatively low.
They are.
Yeah.
When I leave Pottstown and talk to other people who are interested in this topic,
Yeah.
it's really amazing to me to hear what people think. They literally
Absolutely.
think that Pottstown has thousands and thousands of homeless
do.
people.
No.
What
We
are
don't
you
have-
guys finding at the meals?
That's not.
No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
right,
We're finding that
families.
there are some people that we know are homeless that come.
right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But if, let's say, we serve 60 people, so I'm going to use Christ Episcopal because I've been there so much this month.
Okay.
Let's say they serve 60 people on a Monday. Out of those 60 people, 10%
Okay.
might
So
be
six.
actually.
I would have said 5.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
So that's about 6 people are actually homeless. And the truth of our homeless population in Pottstown is that most of them, the organizations that work with nonprofits, we know them by name.
Yeah.
I can name our regulars.
Exactly.
I know what
see
time they're
them
going to show
every
up.
day.
Right.
I know what they're going to ask for.
Mhm.
So it's not what you think. I would say maybe 5, 6 of them are actually street homeless
At that one particular
at that
site.
one
Yes.
meal. But what we also find is that we
So-
see a lot of the same people
Mhm.
at the meals,
Right.
because it helps.
Mhm.
When you're thinking about whether you have to feed the kids or pay the light bill
Yeah.
or feed the kids or pay the internet bill because they're working from home.
Yeah.
They're
right.
doing school
Sure,
from home,
Sure. Or just communicating.
Right.
or just communicate. It's easier to say, okay, well, we can go to the meal.
Mhm.
We don't have to worry about that for today.
Mhm.
And that is what it is. So that is the first thing that we're noticing, is that it's not at all unhoused people.
Right.
It's mostly people are working poor and our elderly. I
Mhm.
don't want to leave out the elderly. We
No,
are seeing that
a
it
definite
definitely helps our
increase.
elderly. There's one gentleman that I can think of, and you'll know who exactly I'm talking about, who comes to us and just gets breakfast stuff because that's all he can cook. But he goes to the meals so that he has balanced meals.
Mhm.
And he's not poor, he's not unhoused, but he's older.
Right.
And
so he has some
he
physical
never learned
limita-
how to make. His
I
wife
got
is
you.
now gone. He never
Right.
learned how to really cook.
So again, he's getting some balanced nutrition, right? He's
Right,
getting some
yes.
variety in his diet, and again, he's getting that interaction and that camaraderie and that feeling of community
Absolutely.
by going and sitting down at
Absolutely.
this particular site that he attends.
That's exactly it.
And I think people are missing that piece,
Absolutely.
that connection. And I
Mhm.
think now that we can offer that again,
Mhm.
and they're relearning how to sit and be with other people
Yeah.
is the big piece.
So there's a mental health aspect then of this too.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
relieving some of that
Yes.
loneliness and depression
Absolutely.
that causes a lot of mental health issues.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Causing people to withdraw
Absolutely.
or wanting to withdraw even further.
And I think even if you're not in those states, the pandemic did a number on all of us
Yeah.
in that regard.
Sure.
The
Yeah, absolutely.
anxiety of just entering a room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've been to quite a few meals,
Yeah.
and I could picture one gentleman freezing at the door
Yeah.
when he saw the room full of people.
Right.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that kind of leads me to where I want to segue into what people can do, right?
Yeah.
Because we're finding data, we're finding areas in which people need service.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is one of the ways that people can get involved, because I want to put a challenge out to the people that are watching
Please
this
do.
show.
Absolutely.
We need volunteers at
Yes.
Pottstown Cluster of Religious
We
Communities.
need volunteers.
One-
Absolutely.
100%.
And it's not even just volunteering in one particular spot. So, Matt, you talked about the trash issue.
Yeah.
One thing that we are looking to do is to build a team of
Yes,
people.
my trash team.
Your trash
Trash
team.
team.
I mean, we're gonna find a better name, you
I
guys.
like
We're
it.
gonna find a better name.
Trash
But
committee.
it's gonna be
All right.
no, that's not even enough.
No.
But we're good, just so that we are making sure
Mhm.
that people are not dropping things, they're not leaving things. That's something small. But the other thing that we really want to work on is a resource committee.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
We really want to have a presence at these meals so that when people are coming, for our unhoused or our working poor, they don't have time to run everywhere to every nonprofit and find out all the information of
Yes.
every one of them.
Right. Because the one thing is, and this is something that we've talked about extensively on Porchcast.
Yeah.
And Porchcast really started as a way to get resource information out to people. There are so many resources
so many.
in the borough of Pottstown and
Absolutely.
the surrounding area.
Absolutely.
So I think you hit the nail on the head with this idea, is that bring people into a location that they're already coming.
Absolutely. Right.
Have a
the
team,
services.
right? Have a team of people that, for instance, can welcome this man in that physically froze up at the door.
Mhm.
Welcome in the people that might want to loiter around outside the
Absolutely.
building
Yes.
rather than come in.
Absolutely.
And
Welcome in
then-
the warm space.
Right.
Mhm.
And then have those people, not in any kind of interrogation way,
Yes.
but
Conversation.
start having conversations with these people.
That's
so
it.
that we can identify the areas in which we can help them get plugged into all the good stuff that's available
Yes.
here at
Send them in the
Absolutely.
right direction.
And we just had this conversation earlier in a meeting. So we were talking about training people to be able to do that. And they're like, so what does training look like? I said, what it looks like is learning what to listen for in conversation
Right.
to know where to direct people. Because it's not like,
Everybody's
hey, how can I
offers.
help you? Because
Right.
people are going to be like, okay.
No,
It's
somebody
having
could
a
really get put
conversation
off.
and somebody saying, I had a conversation with someone. She said, I really can't figure out how to get my kid into a pre-K counselor or something. And I said, I have a resource for that.
Mhm.
Let me give you the information to somebody I know.
Right.
Because it's about having conversations with people. And the more you have conversations, the more people get comfortable
Mhm.
and the more they'll accept the help
Yes.
and the more that they'll trust that whoever you are directing them to will help them.
Right.
It's not just going online and looking at names because you can't vet those
It's
people.
The relationship building.
That's the
That's
point.
the piece we need, the relationship building. Because if we can build that relationship with our community,
Absolutely.
they won't be intimidated by us.
Right.
We want them to feel welcome when they see our presence.
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
them to feel
Relieved.
judge-free zone.
Yes.
We're not
Right.
judging. We
No.
are here to help.
We're trying to
assist,
help.
direct. There's so many resources in every nonprofit through Pottstown.
Absolutely.
Some of us offer the same things. Some of us offer different things.
Mhm.
But if they have that welcoming feeling,
Mhm.
they won't be afraid
Mhm.
to say, well, I really need this.
Right.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the first thing that I would like to say to people that are watching the show, either live or later on, is
Yeah.
that we need volunteers in order to create the trash team and
Trash.
the-
We have a better name than trash. Come on, Matt.
or the community resources team, whatever you want to call it. These are if these issues mean something to you,
Absolutely.
the feeding people, homelessness, getting people plugged into resources.
Yeah.
If you are challenged by these issues, the way everyone sitting at this table is,
Absolutely.
we're giving you a way that you can get involved.
100%.
We welcome
Yes.
the
Right.
support.
And listen, when I started down this path, I came to this committee, let's say, that's being formed with some really negative energy, because I was dealing with the outcomes of
Right.
negative outcomes
Right.
revolved around these community meals.
Absolutely.
I was tired of seeing this stuff.
Understood.
So,
yeah.
but I wanted to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would also say, if you're watching this because you were angry about something that happened with the community meal,
Yeah.
or even if you have some negative energy,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I came with that same mentality,
Yeah.
but with a little bit of reasonableness, with a little bit of brainstorming
And our charmingness.
and charmingness, right?
They love us.
We were able to turn some of that negative energy around, so that
Absolutely.
now we're actually finding solutions to these problems, rather than just I can go to the pub, or I can go to Southside Social Club and bitch all night long over my beer.
We're listening
It's not going to change
Yeah, to
anything.
to our people,
Right.
our community.
Right.
That's the key.
And I think the
And
truth is
and by community, we're saying everybody.
everybody.
Even if you're not a participant in this meal,
Absolutely.
we want to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
So that we can help address the issue that you're having. With
Yeah.
this.
If we don't know about the problem, we can't help.
And the
fix it.
truth is, most change doesn't get sparked by everybody playing nice. It gets
Mhm.
sparked by anger. It gets sparked by people getting fed up. So if there is, I agree with you. If there is something that is you're truly fed up about, that that Clusters handles,
Reach
I am
out.
open for conversation.
Yeah.
No, the end of the conversation might not be that we both think everything's peachy clean,
No.
but we will walk away, one, probably understanding each other a little bit more, but also having a plan of action on, well, we can't fix it 100%, but how do we make it better?
Right.
Or how do we make
But
it
we're
different?
listening.
And we're listening. And I think I would hope, Matt, that you feel that you came with this issue and we listened,
Yeah.
and then we started to show that we're going to make some changes. We heard what you said,
Yeah.
and we're
We're
going to
figuring it
do what
out.
we need to do to try and, I will say, I said to Patricia, I was like, there's so much on our plate, but this is an issue. And if it means that we can feed our people better,
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to sit down and figure that out.
Right.
For me and for Anissa too, and obviously for you, Matt, we
Mhm.
all are in the same community.
Absolutely.
We want to do what we can
Mm-hmm.
to support and listen and
Yeah.
fix
Mm-hmm.
the best that we can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Some things our hands are going to be tied,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and it may take longer than we like, but
I
some
think
things
that's-
are fixable.
I think that's the number one thing that people have to understand, is that some of this stuff has been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these issues have been created because people get comfortable.
Absolutely.
And we have to get a little bit uncomfortable in order to change things.
It's necessary.
It's necessary for the change.
Step out of the shell.
Right.
It's going to take a little while to turn the boat around a little
It
bit.
will.
But at least we can see a plan.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is the fact that you guys are actually going out and collecting this data and this information.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're just doing this stuff in a vacuum,
Mhm.
in an
No.
office or a boardroom
Right.
somewhere that's
We're
disconnected.
physically
Yeah.
saying
I was going to say,
Yeah.
we, and when he talks about the data we collected, for anybody, that's listening, you don't know, Patricia and I went to every single meal, met with the leaders.
Mhm.
And then we hosted 5 different meetings on their own turf so that
Yeah.
they felt comfortable with people
to
that
speak freely.
to speak freely, to be in their own element with the people who are working these community meals. Because the truth is that we're going into other people's space, their churches, their Salvation Armies, and we're trying to run a program. We can't just come in and be the emperor of it.
Right.
We have to come in and work with whomever is actually running it, because one of the things we said, we need to get back to in person. We were met with, okay, our volunteers are older than they were before. who's going to take the food out of the oven because it's heavy.
Right.
And it was something that we both were like,
We worked with that though.
we did work with it,
Yeah.
but it was
accommodated.
something that we weren't prepared to hear. And something that our executive director, Barb, said at one of the meetings was, we hear about a new issue every time we go to one of these meetings. It's a different issue. And then we found something new that we need to try and work around and figure out how to fix. And Matt was talking about volunteers. We need volunteers who are younger. These women have been doing this my entire lifespan.
30
Right.
years. One lady, 30
That's
years.
my entire
One
lifespan.
lady was she's 92.
Yes.
Okay.
Still serving meals.
Right.
But the thing is, we can't expect them to put out meals for 70 people in the time frame that we do it. We need some people that can come in.
When,
We
when
both
Bertha and Myrtle are 79 and 92,
Right.
their capacity to serve might be a little
Or
limited.
pick up
Exactly.
that pan of meatloaf.
Yeah, right.
Patricia and I have both done community meals.
It's not
We're not
easy.
talking not from experience. We've done it, physically
Yeah.
done it. And those pans are heavy.
Right.
It is hard to bend down and get in those huge ovens and take it out. So that is something that we also are working with. And also it's helping us to partner together some of the churches a little better.
Yeah.
We are figuring out how to connect churches together who may not have been connected before, just so that we have the hands that we need.
Okay.
So that is something that we're actually excited about, is building
Bringing the
community at the
community.
community meals, but building community throughout the churches, so that one, it fixes an issue that is age old in the church, but
Yeah.
that also helps us to just connect better.
Yeah. What I'm doing right now, and I'm listening, and you guys are handling the conversation great. What I did was I put a link up to the Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities not Facebook page, the web page.
Yeah.
So
yes.
during the show, for those that are technically able, or after the show for other folks, click on that link and you will find links on how to get involved, how to contact the cluster if you are interested in becoming involved, or you're a part of an organization that's looking for a way to get involved with helping in the community. These are some very specific areas that you can do that will have an immediate impact on the community. You're still involved in food.
Absolutely.
You're still involved in feeding hungry and homeless people. But based on the research that you guys have conducted, you now have some very specific tasks
Absolutely.
that need to be done at some of these churches and meals for
Yeah.
people, rather than, and again, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. Rather than packing a bunch of bags
Agreed.
at
Yeah.
your house
Yeah.
to hand out on the street,
Right.
you can now go to one of these community meals or come
Absolutely.
here and work at the cluster in a very directed and resource mindful manner.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I will say, feel free to contact me directly. You can go to our website, but also I am the volunteer coordinator. So if you want to give us a call, 100%. If you want to email
always
me
need help.
directly, my email is ajones@pottstowncluster.org. I am always open to new volunteers. What we also are finding is that we always have people who are working that are looking for help or way to volunteer. This is a perfect way to get involved with that. We always have people that are looking for their teenagers to do the mandatory hours to graduate in Pennsylvania. This is a perfect way to get involved in that. So yeah, please reach out to us however you can. And I would love to have a conversation with you. Would love to find a way for you to plug into how we're doing it. But what we also have realized is we're not the only ones who know how to do this. And so one of the next phases in what we're doing is to meet with other organizations that are doing food, that are doing meals in Pottstown, and saying, hey, well, how are you guys doing it? How are you guys handling your trash?
Right.
And then coming together and figuring out the best way to do it, so that we are not causing more of a problem.
Right.
And that is the goal. We want to help everyone we can and relieve the issue and not cause new issues.
Not cause new issues. Right.
We want everybody to know we're not just walking in here to take anything over.
No,
Right.
We're
not at
just
all.
here
We're
to
help.
support.
Right.
We want to give the support we can and
Yeah.
help solve most of the problem. Because in the beginning, Anissa and I started walking into these community meals, and it was they're here to take over.
Absolutely.
They're here to make change.
Absolutely.
That's not what we're
what
doing.
you want to do.
No.
And I have said it before in the past about the cluster when I've talked about it is we want to help you fly your flag as high as possible.
Absolutely. That's a perfect way to say it.
And one of the ways that the Pottstown cluster can help you is you don't need to, for instance, go out to the grocery store and buy a bunch of groceries to donate to
Yeah.
some organization,
Yeah.
right? We can help you. And if you donate your dollars to the cluster for food,
100%.
you get a 60% savings on those dollars because
Mm-hmm.
the cluster is tapped in to the local and regional food resources.
Absolutely.
So for every dollar that you're going to spend at, let's say, Giant buying a can of corn,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
You get
$100.
$1, you get $1.60
Yeah.
by donating to the cluster, and they're going to help people get the
Mhm.
kind of things that they actually want.
And even more, if you give right now, we're a part of the
There
Amazing
you
Raise.
go.
So
That's-
therefore, what you give now helps us even more. It's through the whole month of October. So you have until Monday
Mhm.
to give, and then the Amazing Raise finds a way to help match some of it.
Yes, right.
And so it helps our dollars go even further. And what you're saying is so true, Matt. We do love in-kind donations. We'll never say that we don't, but it's so helpful when people give us the money to help us to go out and get what our clients are telling us they need.
What the need
We
is.
have clients that tell us, we have some of our Hispanic and our Latino community who are telling us they're looking for a certain kind of bean.
Right.
And people in general don't know that because I wouldn't know that. I don't eat that bean. I know that I eat lima beans because that's a cultural thing for me. You're Italian.
Green beans.
You eat, right. So, when we can talk to our clients, and we do a lot of research with our clients as well, we do polls and things like that, so they can tell us exactly what it is they're looking for. That also helps cut down on the waste.
Right.
Because
Right.
we're getting what they want.
It's a chain reaction down the line.
Absolutely.
Even with our homeless meal bags
Yes.
and with our hygiene bags.
Absolutely.
And that's where these dollars go. It doesn't just help the people, it helps everybody across the board.
Mhm.
And that's the important piece here.
Right.
We need that dollar to stretch further.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at times because we know that although we were at what seemed like a wash in money during the pandemic with money that came from the state and federal government, money that came from donors, that stuff is starting to dry up, right?
It's
So
true.
Yeah.
we had a lot of money to spend. We spent a lot of money,
Mhm.
but we're going to go back to some of those times when we have to be a little bit more conscious
Right.
about how and where we're
A
spending
little bit
those
more conscious.
dollars.
It's true.
Yes.
And even with that, so there was a lot of funneling of money into us during the pandemic. You're correct. But even if we stay at the same level of funding with inflation
Mhm.
and with supply chain issues
And with the increase
and
in
with
clientele,
increase in clients,
we can't make it.
it's hard.
Right.
We're realizing, where we were at funding wise may not be enough because we have more people to help and prices are so much higher. I'm feeling it when I go to get gas.
Yeah,
I'm feeling
sure.
it when I go to the market.
Yeah.
My
Right.
$150 is a lot less.
It's a
than what it
lot
used
less
to be.
stuff. I
Yeah.
went just to get some stuff for lunch to keep at my desk.
Yeah.
And I spent $40, which usually for me can get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Nope.
it
And
was
if you
like-
want to eat
it was
fresh,
like-
it's even
it
worse.
was like 2 or 3 days worth of stuff. I'm like, what the heck?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what we're realizing, what I say to people
money
all the
comes
time.
So you know
is-
what? Here, listen. I just thought of this, and maybe this is, maybe this is another way to encourage volunteerism.
Mhm.
If you're feeling the pinch a little bit,
Mhm.
and you want to help at one of these community meals, you'll get a meal.
That's
You'll
also
get a
true.
free meal. It's
And-
going to
and they're
reduce.
pretty
It'll
good
reduce.
meals. I'm gonna
It's
be
good
honest.
stuff. It's good stuff.
We only buy the best quality of food.
Right.
Patricia is bringing in some really great new items
Mhm.
that I wish was available when I was a pantry admin, but
Right,
whatever. But she's bringing in some
I'm
great
trying
items.
to make the dollar
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah. So, and even, we had a conversation that not a lot of people eat pork. She bought in beef bacon. Like,
Right.
it's just amazing what we are able to do.
Mhm.
We're listening.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the key here. We're listening.
And what I'm hearing is we're all being pinched by inflationary costs and
Mhm.
all of this kind of stuff. We all want to try to do something to help solve some of these problems.
Mhm.
So why not come by one of the meals, get involved in one of the teams that we talked
Absolutely.
about, and at least on the night that you come, you'll get a free dinner
Yep.
or a lunch out of it.
And that's the truth. When
If they're uncomfortable about making a commitment,
yeah,
just pop by, observe, see
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
and then make a decision. It's not that you need to do it every week.
right.
It could be a once a month thing. It
Yeah.
could be
Mhm.
once every 2 months.
Right.
We'll take any help.
Oh,
Yeah,
any
not
help
a
we
problem.
can
And
get.
we have no, like you said, rotating schedules. If we in
get
our
it,
middle
life.
class lifestyles are feeling the pinch, imagine how
Yeah.
much more
Sure.
other people
A
are feeling
working
it.
poor person or a working class
Absolutely.
person is. There is a couple of comments. Melinda C. Edmonds is asking how she can make a donation. I have put links up to the Facebook page.
Mhm.
Jackie Good just put up a link to the cluster's donate link on their website.
Mhm.
We are at Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities. I found them very easy on the internet and on Facebook just by searching Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities. The web links, the Facebook links came up, all kinds of contact information. So if you want to get involved, if you want to make a donation, you can do that. I'll also put Anissa's email address back up on the screen.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
also in the chat. I just
Yeah.
want to give some shout outs to people that are commenting in this chat because that does help us get the word out.
Yeah.
We talked about Thomas Shepard. Thanks for tuning in. Elizabeth Harper is one of our regular watchers. She's a Porchtonian. Kathy Skitko from Hobart's Run. Let's see. Unica White also has some comments up. Thanks for putting those comments up on the screen. And Jackie Good has been helping me out get up links and information into the chat. Jackie Good is the Director of Development here at Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities. She is sitting just off screen to my right and helping
She's our
me.
support.
Yeah, she's helping me because a lot of regular watchers will notice that Amy Wolf could not be with us here tonight. She had plans that took her out of town, but I thought that this would be a very important episode to have and a conversation to have because we are coming out of the recent controversy with the citations that were issued to the churches.
Absolutely.
And a lot of those citations, a lot of the impetus that led to those citations came out of what was happening with the community meals and with the charity work that those churches were involved in.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for everybody who's been participating. We still have some time to talk. If people are interested in interacting with the show, that chat is open. I will try to get to as many questions and comments as I possibly can.
Mhm.
So if the conversation has led you to have a question, please feel free to put that up onto the screen and we'll address it as part of the conversation. People who want to participate in the show in that way, I have a email address set up. It's called pottstownreports@gmail.com. We take all kinds of questions, critique, and comment about Porchcast Pottstown. You can send us an email about anything you want, and we will try to address it on the show as best we can. That being said, there was an email that I received with several questions leading into the show. So hopefully the person who asked those questions is watching, and I'm going to put that person in contact with the folks here at Cluster.
Absolutely.
They will send you an email response.
Yeah.
But let's go through some of those questions because I thought that I believe it was a gentleman, maybe.
Yeah.
He wrote some really extremely good questions. So let's
Absolutely.
chew into that. And then maybe that'll spark some more comment and question in the show.
So the first question from this gentleman was, is there currently any help available with past due rent? If so, does there need to be court paperwork filed by the landlord before Cluster can help? There is currently help for that. We are currently one of the organizations that is helping with the ERIC program, which is Emergency Rent and Utility Coalition. And in order to get help with that, you can either go through Your Way Home, which is 211, or if you have access, they can go to our website, again, pottstowncluster.org, under services, and it is called the Emergency Rent and Utility Assistance Program. The next thing that they asked was, will heating be available in 2022, and how about 2023? Heating is currently open and available on our website. It is one of the programs that I run. We are open right now. I cannot say about 2023 because it depends on how much help we give in 2022, but we are hoping that it will continue to be open for now. So it is open right now, again, on pottstowncluster.org under the Services tab, 2022 Oil Assistance Program. This one is yours.
This one says, I know they have a food bank open during the day. Yes, we are open Tuesday through Friday from 9:30 to 12:30 with online ordering that you could pick a designated pickup time. However, this question here states that the person is unable to come to us. We do deliver. You're welcome to reach out to us. You can either call
Or you
can
can
reach-
email us at food pantry at pottstowncluster.org is the email address. Also, you forgot that we also have online ordering.
Yes, online ordering. We can also set, if you're unable to come into us, can email you the application to register you for food. You do receive food the same day that you register. So
Absolutely.
please understand, we let nobody go hungry.
Okay.
Please reach out to us.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too, I guess, with about the rent and utility program, there's several different programs from some different organizations and some different
There
funding
are
sources.
several different programs from different organizations. If our program is not good for you or help you enough, I do suggest going through Your Way Home, which is 211.
Okay.
You can either call or you can text.
Mhm.
And if you text your zip code, they can
Okay.
help you there. But they do have other programs that we may not have the funding for.
Okay.
But that is for emergency rent, pass rent.
Okay.
Otherwise, we do have a housing resource center, but that is a little bit different.
Mhm.
And it works with Your Way Home. However, there are certain programs that it's not just for immediate assistance. It's for
gotcha.
long-term assistance.
Long-term assistance.
And
So
they get
somebody has to
coached
get
and all of that.
plugged into that. Right?
Absolutely.
And we talked about this before the show. Emergencies are emergencies.
Emergencies are emergencies.
But if you know that you're facing an eviction from your landlord, don't wait until the day of the court hearing for
Please
the
don't.
eviction,
Please don't.
or the day after that you've been
Right.
evicted. If
Right.
you know that that's coming.
Right.
So get plugged into these resources as early as you possibly can,
Absolutely.
because with the exception of some of the food resources that they can give same day,
Mhm.
these utility and rent and housing assistance programs,
Take time.
there's wait periods.
There are wait periods. There is a process. There is paperwork that you need. Everybody doesn't just have, 6 months of pay stuff sitting around or things
Right.
like that. So there is a little bit of back and forth. I get to see our coaches every day working their butts off, trying to help as many people as possible. But it's not
instamatic,
instantaneous.
Right.
It's not right. It's not an immediate fix.
It's not.
And then I think the other thing too is because we get this constantly. This has been something that gets said on Porchcast all the time. What about people that don't have access to phones and communication devices? They can come down to the resource center here and ask for some help. And if you guys can't help them, you're going to try to plug them in with somebody that
Absolutely.
can. So why not give out the address, the physical address,
for sure,
where you can send somebody. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, that's not an issue for people that are watching the show right now.
Right.
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 But if somebody watching the show is trying to help someone like
Yeah.
this, they should know that you can come down in person and
Mhm.
ring the doorbell,
Mhm.
and we're going to help you out as best as we possibly
And
can.
thankfully, right now, our doors are not locked. People can just walk in.
Walk in.
It's wonderful. So yeah, if you want to come down to 57 North Franklin Street in Pottstown. And so the hours, we are open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Like she said, our food pantry is 9:30 to 12:30 Tuesday through Friday, but our doors are open from 9 to 4 Monday through Friday, outside of holidays.
Right.
And also, we have a very capable receptionist. You can give us a call and we'll work on getting you plugged in. If you want to give us a call, our number here is 610-970-5995. Again, from 9 to 4. After 4, it'll go to voicemail and we'll get back to you, as soon as possible. But our goal is to help as many people as we can.
Right.
And so if you're calling with something that we don't particularly take care of, we're going to try and get you plugged in with someone who does.
Mm-hmm.
And not just say, oh, you could try this place or that place. We're going to say, okay, we vetted this place.
Mm-hmm.
They help.
Right. So there's a good question on the screen right now. I put that up from Angie Jones. Are the resources only for those who live in Pottstown? And the answer to that is no. Pottstown, we do serve an area that goes beyond the geographic borders of the borough.
So the resources that we have are for Montgomery County,
Mm-hmm.
however, because we are in Montgomery County and that is who we help. However, we do have partners in the surrounding county, Bucks County, Chester County, that we can plug you into who have all of the resources for those areas.
Okay.
We primarily deal with Montgomery County. That's what we know the best because that's where we are and those are the people that we help, but we can plug you into the resources for Chester, Bucks, Berks.
Philadelphia, maybe.
I have some connections in Philadelphia. I can help you a little bit with that.
But definitely the Tri-County area.
Yes, definitely
right
the Tri-County area. Yes, but also in Philadelphia County, I personally have some people I can direct you to.
Right. And then the one thing too that I wanted to just, again, because the show is all about challenging people to participate and become participate in the show, one, and I thank you for your participation tonight, but two, to get involved in the community and be a contributor to society. You guys were saying that you could deliver, you could make more deliveries, and you could make evening or after hours deliveries if you had what?
If I had a volunteer. We're always welcome to volunteer.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's out there watching, again, this is another very specific way that you could get involved. You're going to make a huge impact.
Absolutely.
Especially with winter rolling in, right? For the elderly, this is like a big deal. If the more help, the better.
Right. Mm-hmm. So above and beyond getting involved in the community meal program, which we need help there.
Absolutely.
We need help with the resource team.
Mm-hmm.
I need help with my whatever you want to call it, the trash team. I like trash team.
We need a better name.
All right. I'm democratic.
Really cool.
I'm democratic. We'll
give you some voting.
Put it to a vote.
Okay.
Yeah. So we need help with those two teams.
Absolutely.
You guys need help with delivery drivers.
Yep.
You have one person that's currently handling deliveries that's going on a long-term vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the person that they currently have that does a lot of these deliveries is going away for a month.
Yeah.
If you want to do something in December around the holidays that's involved with food or helping people with food, because that's when a lot of people want to get involved in this food assistance, we need a driver for the month of December.
And I'm also going to plug, because we do have a holiday program that also helps our clients out. We need volunteers to help us with our toy land that we create.
Yeah.
We would love some volunteers to help. What we do is we set up toys and we allow the parents to come in themselves and pick for their kids.
Okay.
All new toys,
Okay.
Nothing used, not gently used, none of that, all brand new toys. What it does for those parents when they can go and pick it themselves and then they get to wrap it themselves.
It goes right back to this idea of choice again,
Absolutely.
right? And rather than give somebody that they don't want, that's just going to become waste.
Yeah.
Let them pick what they want for their kid. Who knows their kid or their family better than them?
Absolutely.
Right.
Again, the pandemic breeded necessity. So we were packing them, but we are so excited to get back to that. And to just have those parents be able to come in and, pick for their own kids and decide what their children really want. We have parents that we are getting it is open right now for our holiday program. We have parents that are just so excited that it's open.
Yeah.
We talk to parents every day that are like, oh my gosh, I was going to ask about it. And we're like, yeah. So if you want to donate toys, please contact me again. I am running that program as well.
We're kind of
I feel
one-stop
like I run a
shop.
lot.
You can
Between
come-
me and Patricia, we run all of the programs
You come
except for
through.
HRC, which is our Housing Resource Center.
Come through, pick some toys.
Yeah.
Go home with a meal.
Yeah,
We're offering
absolutely.
full dinners.
We're
for
offering full
Christmas,
dinners with
the
either
holiday
turkey, chicken, or
program,
ham. We're still working on exactly what our meat will be, but
including sides.
yes. So that is something else. If you want to donate toys, if you want to talk with us about how to donate food, if you would like to talk to us about how to donate hygiene products, which is something we want people to walk away with, because even if you
important.
get fed, if you don't feel clean,
Yeah.
that messes with you. We had a
Yeah.
conversation.
No, I have a big thing with this. Like, at one point in my life, I was a police officer, and when I went to the academy, we would have to go to PT before we ate lunch. My PT time was before lunch, so I would always feel like sweaty and nasty when I went into the cafeteria, and you just didn't. It wasn't as satisfying as when I could go and take a shower and then get cleaned up.
Absolutely.
There was times we would get marched right off the PT field right into the cafeteria. And it's like,
and we've dealt with, people that even come into the meals and they eat quickly, or they want it to go because they feel dirty or something like that. So we want to holistically take care of people. And that's super important to me.
The hygiene pieces. Big piece to the mental health.
Absolutely.
So I think there's a couple more questions on there. So
absolutely.
let's get to those so that we can answer all that gentleman's questions. We're also coming down to the bottom of the hour. It's okay.
So they're kind of the same-ish, but this one asks, what other programs are available through Cluster or the county for people behind on rent with kids? A program that has immediate financial help. Again, like we said, nothing is immediate. Nothing is instantaneous. Everything has a process. Everything has an application process. Almost everything has a lot of people that are still struggling a little bit that need help. So the best resource for that is to call 211. And they will let you know all of the programs available and what you may qualify for, because depending on your income, depending on the size of your family, depending on children, all of those things, it's a little bit different.
Right.
So that's the best way to find out. And then there's a question about Your Way Home. And it asks if it's only for people that are in the Salvation Army shelter, and if it's for people who, even if they're renting, are in homes. It is not only for people in shelters. It's not only for people in Salvation Army. It is for anybody that calls. It does not matter where you are renting, whether it's a house, apartment, whatever.
But you have to be a renter.
You have to be a renter.
It's not an assistance program for homeowners.
Now that is not. However, I will say our oil program is for homeowners as well. Okay. So I do want our homeowners to know that we do try to help as much as we can with everybody. And oil is expensive.
Yeah.
And it's expensive this year. It's outrageous. So that is helpful with homeowners as well.
Yeah.
But
so I just thought of another thing that somebody could do.
Yeah.
They could turn their heat down a little bit at their house and save some oil. They could go over to the community meal
Absolutely.
and help somebody get some help. They could get a free meal.
Stay warm for an hour and a half.
Stay warm for an hour and a half.
They wouldn't use all of their oil. There's so many benefits of you guys becoming volunteers with us for this. It's amazing.
It's a win-win-win all the way
There's so
around.
many wins.
It's a home run of wins.
Absolutely.
You'd be like the Phillies and knock it out of the park.
That's what we're hoping every time out of the park. That's what we want to do. I think what we're building is a team of people that are able to, just best serve our community. And
Absolutely.
we want to build that through our volunteers. I will say that our volunteers get training. They get training on how to deal with people of different races, of different cultures, of different ability levels, with different language barriers. We do not just throw you out into the wolves, but we do that for you, but we do that for our clients because we truly want them to know that we care about what's going on with them. So that is very important. We also are doing our meals in Serve Safe kitchens. Yes. We're doing it with Serve Safe, people who have Serve Safe certifications. We are making sure that it's healthy, that it is a balanced meal. There are requirements to what we're allowed to feed them. So all of those things are happening. For that as well, because we're trying to make it nutritious. We're trying to make it
Yes.
delicious. We're trying to make it safe. All of those things are super important to us as well. Not just feeding people and not just throwing something at them because we know they're hungry and they'll eat anything, but something that has value. We serve our meals on real plates
Yeah.
with forks, knives, and spoons
Yes.
and glasses.
Right.
We have no problem washing all those dishes
Absolutely.
because eating with dignity is important.
Right.
Yes.
And some of those sites, some of those meal sites do need help with
Absolutely.
doing dishes. So if you
And
don't
I've-
want to serve the meal,
Uh-huh.
if you don't want to stand outside and welcome people in,
Mhm.
if you don't want to help Matt pick up trash, if you don't want to be a driver,
Right.
you can go do some
And I'm
dishes.
going to be honest, they have a really cool dishwasher that I got to play with.
It's
and
amazing.
It's so much fun.
Love it.
So I'm saying it's another win. You get to have fun while you do it.
Right.
And we're great people to hang with. Come on.
Yeah. So Jen Brown, who works in the housing program, is putting up some information in the chat, and YWH stands for Your Way Home.
Yes.
And then I put the link up to Your Way Home, Montgomery County, in the chat so people can go and click onto that website and learn more information about that program.
Absolutely.
I tried to put up as many links to some of these different organizations and to the cluster as I possibly could. The cluster website also has a link to the community meal program schedule.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want to learn more about the community meal that occurs in your neighborhood,
Mhm.
because if you live in the borough of Pottstown, there is one in your
Absolutely.
neighborhood. That might be the best way to
Mhm.
start.
Sure.
You could find out when that next meal is and show up,
Yeah.
see for yourself what's going on,
Yes.
make contact with somebody,
Absolutely.
and plug yourself in as a way to get help.
There's a meal every single day.
Every day,
Absolutely.
Somewhere in Pottstown.
somewhere in Pottstown. Sometimes 3 meals a day,
Yeah,
depending
sometimes
on the
Depending
day.
on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pottstown's not necessarily a food desert or a resource desert.
It's not a resource desert. It
It's
is
not.
a little bit of a food desert.
Right.
But it's not a resource
Resource
desert. That
desert.
is true.
But there are plenty of ways for people to get plugged in.
There are plenty of ways.
Yes.
Pottstown streets are not flooded with starving homeless people.
No.
It does not look like Biafra here in Pottstown,
It
where
does
they're
not.
dropping in stuff from helicopters.
That is not
I'm being
it.
a little bit funny, but
right.
we're not that bad.
We're not.
But we do need help.
Absolutely.
And the help that we need can really make an impact because of the work of Anissa and Patricia. We now know exactly where those needs are within the community. So I want to thank you guys for doing the work that you did. You've been doing a great job.
Thank
I
you.
know that I'm not easy to work with.
I mean, I wouldn't say that out loud.
I'm saying it out
at least.
loud.
I'm just saying.
I will say what I can say I do appreciate is that, Matt, even if you're not easy to work with in those terms, I think that it was really helpful to have your eye, because I think when we went into it, we were trying to protect what we were trying to do.
Mhm.
And there is a level of, this is our baby.
Yeah.
We
Right.
want to feed our people. You're just upset.
Yeah.
And so
You don't want to hear anything bad about your kid.
exactly.
Right.
And when we stopped and we said, okay, well,
But we
he's
also,
not wrong. Darn it.
we also walked in not really understanding
Mhm.
what we were all looking for.
Absolutely.
And then we were like, wow, this
Yeah.
is really eye-opening for
Mhm.
us.
Absolutely.
We asked
Absolutely.
the questions, we got the answers. Now we're just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Make it better.
Absolutely.
Make it better all the way around. And for the people that have tuned in late and didn't hear the beginning of the show, what we are really trying to do is address the issues that are the unintended consequences of our charity that have led to
That's a
people,
great way to say that.
the neighbors in and around the community meal sites were getting frustrated, and it led to 2 of our churches getting cited by the
Yeah.
borough. No one wants to see that happen.
Not at
all.
It's not a good use of
Not
resources.
at all.
So I think over the past hour, we've given people a really long list of ways that they
Yeah.
can make an immediate and direct impact on what's
Yes,
going on.
Absolutely. And what I would say is, if you are thinking of doing something that involves food, reach out to us.
Yes.
That's what
We
we're here
would
for.
love to have that conversation with you to help and direct things that may be great, but may not be what's needed.
Yeah.
And we would love to have those conversations with people.
Absolutely.
We would love for you to get plugged in with us, because if you put your resources and our resources together and your plans and our plans
It's gonna
together,
be amazing.
it can't get
Yeah.
anywhere. It can only get better.
Absolutely.
I like to use the analogy of we can bake a pie. If we
Yeah.
all work together,
Yes.
we can bake a pie rather than fighting over one slice.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
before you get frustrated with things that you're seeing going on, reach out to us. Maybe we're not aware
Yeah.
of what's going on.
Mhm.
And
Or maybe we have a plan in place.
Yeah. That's what I wanted people to hear. I wanted people to hear the plan so that they know that there are people in the community that are working
We
on
are
it.
working. I
we
promise.
are working.
And there's a way for them to provide their input
Absolutely.
and or preferably get involved with us to help
Absolutely.
the community a better place.
Yes.
And I will say, he's given our website a couple of times. Everyone here's email is on that website as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Reach out.
You can go to the staff. Our pictures are there, so we're easy to recognize. And
Yeah.
you can click in and, hey, I heard you on the podcast. This is what I thought of.
Yeah.
I'm a Porchcastonian.
Porchtonian. Yes.
And I have some ideas. Can we talk about them?
We're always
I
open
love to take
ideas.
meetings with people,
Right.
especially in person, like I said in the beginning.
Yes.
So,
We love feedback, good
Yeah.
and bad.
yeah,
There's no judging.
no.
We're here.
As long as it's all respectful,
Yeah.
we don't mind a
Absolutely.
conversation.
No.
We're here. We're
I
here
gotta-
to listen. We're
yeah.
here to fix it.
I got to give you guys credit. Like I know I'm tough. You ask my kids; they'll tell you the same.
He's a
But
pretty scary guy.
I can be, and if I have my mind set to something, I let people know.
Mhm.
And you guys took it all on the chin, so to speak, and came back with some great work. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get some of the stuff moving, so that
Mhm.
we're actually doing it. I want to be able to go back to what my goal is in all of this
Mhm.
is to be able to go back to the borough,
Mhm.
go back to that licensing and inspections department and say, hey, look, here's what we put in place
Right.
in order to address the community problems.
Mhm.
We're fixing this.
Mhm.
And we didn't have to issue any citations to anybody.
Right.
And in the future, if you are getting complaints or if you're thinking about writing some more citations, give us a call.
Right.
We're here
Come
to
to
work
us.
with you.
Right.
Come to us. You see the work that we just did on the
Mhm.
back of this. We're ready to do more.
Right.
Come to us first before you write these
Absolutely.
citations.
And I do want to personally thank our board, because you guys, when things started happening, definitely stepped up, helped us get into the meetings that we needed to get into with the people that we needed to talk to find out what was going on. And you guys took a true interest in all of this,
Yes.
and even though you guys were tough on us, it really did help us to get a handle on what's going on a little better, but also make things better.
Yeah.
So definitely thank you to our
Yes,
board.
absolutely.
To
Thank
our
you.
board president, Roberta Brody. Thank you so much. To Matt, thank you for showing up at 5,000 meetings
Yes,
about this.
a lot of
There's been
meetings.
so many meetings.
So many. Yeah.
But
Anissa, I thought was gave me the death stare when it was announced that we needed people to come step up to take on this project. And I was like, we got this.
and I did give her the death stare, because I was like, how do we have
And
this?
then after we went to the first meeting, I thought, oh no, what did we get into? But
Yeah.
now, after all the work that we've put into it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
we're in.
We're all bought
We
in.
are
Absolutely.
invested in
Yeah.
solving it,
Absolutely.
or trying to solve it, fix it, or
Mhm.
come up with a solution.
Absolutely.
This has become our personal goal.
It's like, yeah.
At
Like
this point,
all the things we work on, and then we're like, our baby community meals.
Yeah.
and there's days we don't see eye to eye,
That is true.
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's teamwork
Yeah.
and business is business.
Absolutely.
I think it's good to have a little bit of tension because it breaks up that group think. And
Yeah.
you guys probably were experiencing a little bit of that when you felt threatened. Oh, well,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? That was that group think
Absolutely.
kicking in. And when you're challenged a little bit, you can start to think outside of the box and come up with some new solutions or hear something from someone else,
Yeah.
a different perspective.
And that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what had to
exactly what
happen.
happened. And I'm looking forward to more of it. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep challenging the Porchtonians and the people watching tonight to get into helping out, or even if it's as simple as sending an email with a useful suggestion.
Absolutely.
And people can do that by reaching out to Porchcast Pottstown at pottstownreports@gmail.com. We had a person that did that. Anissa and the folks here, and Patricia and the folks here at Pottstown Cluster Religious Communities are going to put a response together to that gentleman's email.
Yes.
And we're going to get your questions answered. If you have something to say about Porchcast Pottstown, again, you can contact us at pottstownreports@gmail.com. Susie Marcucci Kennedy, who is our literary liaison to Porchcast, is saying this was an extremely informative episode. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We went a little bit over the hour, but we still have people watching, which leads me to believe that people are interested in hearing the message. So I'm going
volunteer.
Volunteer. That is the message for tonight.
That is the message.
So therefore, I'm going to skip news and events, because the news and the event that we want you to do is volunteer
Yes.
in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of different ways to get involved with Pottstown Cluster Religious Communities, with the different programs we talked about tonight. Please contact us in one way, shape, or form so that you can get involved and we can start addressing these issues.
Absolutely.
I want to thank everybody's participation.
Yeah,
in
thank
the show.
you guys so much for the questions.
We
as
got
well.
Thank you
good
for having
questions.
us.
We did.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got good. There's a lot of good content that's up in the chat. Those links will live there forever. So if you
Awesome.
want to go back in and click on one of those links or write down some of that information, it'll
Please.
be there.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the show again, I highly encourage people to go over to the YouTube channel to watch the quote unquote reruns. The YouTube channel is Porchcast Pottstown. While you're there, hit that subscribe button. It is absolutely free. It's a much easier platform to search the past episodes. And we also stream live to YouTube. I know that there are quite a few Porchtonians that watch live from their living room, from
That's
their
awesome.
smart TV.
I love that.
So thanks for doing
Or a
that.
big TV.
This has been the episode of Porchcast Pottstown, where we talk about feeding the homeless. So that's how we got people's attention for tonight. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I am Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. I am your local real estate expert. Please call me if you need help buying or selling commercial or residential properties in Pottstown and the surrounding area. That would be Berks, Chester, or Montgomery County. Anissa Jones is the community engagement coordinator for Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities. Please contact her at ajones@pottstowncluster.org.
Yep.
Patricia Shepard is the food pantry supervisor?
Administrator.
Contact her if you have any questions about what's going on at the food pantry. We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.